Hi everyone, it's Galen, design team member for Unity Stamp Company. Today I have a no layer card using stamping with Distress Oxide inks and a stencil for masking. I have the Unity Stamp Company kit called Time to Refresh by Gracieli Design, and I'm using a leaf out of that, a floral, and a sentiment. I'm using the original Misty to stamp with. I am using My Favorite Things stencil, and I am going to use My Creative Times oval dies to create a mask. So I die cut that, and then I'm going to use that to layer over to use as a mask. I'm using makeup brushes that I found online that are perfect for blending the Distress Oxide inks. I am using the actual Oxide inks in Broken China and Worn Lipstick. I'm also using purple tape, and I'm using a card base. I'm going to be stamping right onto the card base and doing the blending. I'm also using Ranger Archival ink in Jet Black and watering can. So to begin, I just tape down with purple tape. It is a repositionable tape that won't tear the paper. So I just tape down the card first onto just a white scrap piece of paper, and then over that I tape down the mask and the stencil. And so I'm going to apply Distress Oxide ink in a pinker shade towards the bottom and a blue shade towards the top, and then blend them in the middle. When you do this directly onto the card base or onto another piece of paper, you're going to have a background that is with no paper layer. It's just going to be ink that has a design and pattern to it for a background. And so I'm doing this directly onto the card base this time. So I use a scrap piece of paper to protect the sides of the card, just so that some of the blending doesn't get inked up onto the edge of the card, and also to clean the brushes as I ink and I want to mute the color a little. I take off some of the color before blending, and then when I want to change colors, I just rub that blending brush right onto the scrap paper, and it removes a lot of the color. Not 100%, but it removes a lot. And then I just add in, various alternating motions, the color and the blending. I want a very light background. So where you see the stencil is going to be actually white. It's going to show the background color of the card, which will be white. So it provides a pattern, a flat pattern. So gently remove the purple tape from the stencil and from the mask and from the card base. So I just clean the stencil as I use it, and then I remove the mask, and you'll see a really pretty design that you could use to stamp with on that background directly on the card base. So at this point, there's no layering at all. The only layering I'm doing for this card is for a few sequins that I added at the end. So to stamp, I make sure that layer is dried, and then I use the original Misty to place the sentiment, and I stamp the sentiment in the Jet Black ink. And then I place the leaves and flower where I want it. I use a gray ink on that called Watering Can by Ranger. And any inks will do. It's just what I have on hand. So I like to use what I have on hand. I wanted the leaves to be a little lighter than the sentiment. And that's it. It's so easy to do. It's pretty, and you could do this with any stamps and any stencils using Distress Oxide ink or any ink pads, really. It's wonderful. I love this technique. I hope you have a great day. Thanks so much for watching. Please take a moment to subscribe to my YouTube.